All of them. There's Mazuba, there's Chiluba, I can think of Mandu. So there's quite a few characters. My name is Natasha Omokhodion. I'm an author and now a publisher. That is one aspect of my career. My other side is that I've always worked in communications for financial services, in the financial services sector. So it's a bit of, quite a few moving parts, but somehow through the work I'm doing now and the work we're here to discuss today, that's where the intersect comes in.
Can you kindly introduce the project that you're currently working on?
So this project has been really exciting, and it's an anthology, which means that it's going to be a collection of short stories. Ideally, we wanted from 12 authors around anywhere in Zambia, any age, any kind of story, but the theme was supposed to be around women and money. We sent out a public call for submissions 2 years ago now, I think. So for in 2024. And then all the submissions came through, and out of those submissions, 12 were selected. And from those selected 12, the authors were brought together so that we could have one community. And through it, we were able to carry out virtual and physical workshops, also in line with other authors from Malawi Writers Union. Well, they're very skilled. And we had a published facilitator come through and just assist us with our self-editing, skills transfer, and develop the stories, which are going to now finally be published this coming March in Women's Month. We've met some amazing human beings and writers and gotten to get stories that I think were, some of them very surprising. Some of them, you wouldn't think of them in a women and money kind of way, but somehow they all came together, and then all together the stories in one publication, which by the way will be, the title now is the Boy in the Red Car and Other Stories. It's such an exciting, eclectic collection of stories and voices and talent from around the country. And that's essentially how it came. It was a transparent call, and we chose from the best of the calls that came through.
Why women and money? And what made this theme urgent enough to turn it into a whole collection?
Why women and money? As I said, I think because by nature, for me, I publish, I write stories, I read a lot of stories. But as I said, my other life is in the financial services sector. So I think it's really interesting for me when perhaps you get sort of like a top line view of what markets are like, what we're looking for, what they're looking for. But when you just distill it to a single human being and what they're going through every day, and of course we know our money is important. If it's working healthily, it's just as important as a healthy working home or healthy working work environment, etc. So yeah, it was just maybe in the selfish way, in that sense, a way to see what it's like individual. I'm curious, what are the different stories that maybe you wouldn't have access to on a normal day? What do they look like? What does it sound like when we say women and money? And I think in particular, when we had first started out, I think we had done an event in 2016 or so called Women and Money. And at that time, I think a lot of events started to come out, but they were still limited to, I think, a class of women who were considered maybe a premium client or something. And I think I felt like it was great that all these events were happening, but I felt like we were missing out other voices and other experiences that should be part of the whole conversation. When we're talking about financial inclusion, when we're talking about advancing together, I just felt like there was an alienated voice. And through fiction, I always feel that there's a power in the way that fiction it's fiction, right? It's a lie, but there's so much societal truth that comes out of there. And I think it's just important for us all to be able to look into those kind of mirrors while we're enjoying them and while we're learning from them. And I think it makes us stronger as a collective.
What did you notice about how Zambian women relate to money?
So some current themes, or recurring themes, which I don't think we anticipated, were first that a lot of them somehow steered towards the maybe morally gray areas. So I think there are a lot of ethical questions that come up, but that's what's going to happen in any fictional piece. Characters will be pushed to the point where they maybe have to choose between something bad and something bad. So I think I didn't anticipate that. A lot of criminal or morally gray elements that came through. And also, a lot of the stories, we're talking about women and money, but it was surprising, or maybe not surprising, I guess readers will tell us, but a lot of them were still male-centered, even though we're writing for women. And I found that an interesting sort of recurring theme throughout.
Do you think younger Zambian women relate to money differently than older generations?
Yes, I do. I do. I think when it comes to younger generations and how women view money, it's very different now. I mean, every generation of women will be influenced, first of all, by the macro environment, right? So what are the big things going on around them? Is there a war? Is there peace? Are copper prices booming or are they falling? It really depends on what's happening on the bigger scale. And it sort of distills down to what we experience and how we relate to it on a micro level. But in this younger generation, we've got things like social media now, which have us on a constant, like you're constantly comparing, or it sets the standard for quote marks what a soft life should look like, or what kind of phone you should have in your hand, or what it should look like when you get your first job. You should already have X kind of car, And I think older generations maybe didn't have that unique challenge or nuance. They just had to get on with it. And I don't know, maybe it's the great equalizer. Maybe it means now everyone should be on a soft life. I don't know. But also, I think the positive side of social media is that it's really removed, I think, the gatekeeping element of where women didn't know you didn't know what to look maybe on how to make extra source of income. Now you just turn on your Instagram, someone's like, I made 6 figures in XYZ, right? And maybe it's not necessarily applicable to you, but I think it's really keeping that conversation going all the time, that women begin maybe to aspire more, start to look outside of what the box that they were given initially, and start to see maybe there are other creative ways that I can do this, or if this person did that, maybe I can do it too. So I just think, the way social media, AI, this tech age and where we're going, I think the relationship just changes fundamentally.
Was there a source of income in the book that really stood out to you?
A couple, but I wouldn't want to give away the book. But there was one. I think it was a breakfast restaurant. I found it very physically heartwarming. So in my senses and everything, I can smell the tea, I can taste the bun, and I can see the customers and hear them chattering every day in the market. So maybe that one.
Did any of the characters remind you of someone you know personally?
Wow, that's a loaded question. I think there's one particular story with a character called Manda, but she has a best friend called Belita. And it's funny because Manda is the main character, but Belita remains with me the most, her friend. She's just bulky and protective, and I think she reminds me of someone. I can't tell you who, but yes, Belita reminds me of somebody, and she stays with you in that sense. Yeah, you feel protected, like, oh, I finally have a friend.
Is there a story in the book where you felt protective of the character?
Can I give 2? Maybe 3? I don't know. There's quite a few. There's so many. There's so many. But I think there's Mazuva in the last story in the anthology, which the anthology is named after. And of course, I can't tell you what it's about, but I felt very protective of her because she's a girl caught in a situation where she's working really hard. She braids hair for a living, she's trying to put her money together, but society, the way things are, she really has no one to look out for her. And you really, you feel for her and every girl in that situation. And I think now, being a mother, I really, my daughter is 11, like I really imagine, like, what if there was no one there to look after, and they really have to make tough choices. So I think Mazuva is one of them, but all of them. There's Mazuva, there's Chiluba, I can think of Manda. So there's quite a few characters, And who's the other one? The other one who, I can't tell you much, but yes, she's in a marriage that she shouldn't be in. And you sort of want to just go in and get out of the pages and tell them, no, you don't have to do that. So, yeah.
What did you appreciate most about the women in these stories?
I think what I appreciated most about them is the way these authors wrote the stories. Is you feel like the characters are so real. that they're just your friends who are just telling you, do you know what do you know what has happened to me? And then they just tell you, and you're going with them on this journey, you know. I think the level of personal engagement that the authors gave us through their stories, I think that's what I feel I appreciate the most from all of them. It's just like talking, you're reading, but you're talking to a friend, and you've entered this world of theirs, which you otherwise would never have.
Did writing about money change how you think about it and with your own relationship with it?
Well, I didn't particularly write about money. I had people writing about money. And engaging with their stories, yes, I think it did change, maybe open my view a bit more. So maybe now I've got more of a, and also the stories that Mukati is sharing, I have more empathy and maybe understanding of what it's like, for instance, to have a market stall and have the capital, then someone takes the capital, then you've got things that you need to do, and so maybe from that perspective, I think a higher respect for money and how we treat it, but also for what it means for women. And truly, if you are the back, the buck stops with you. You're the one who must still look after the kids, maybe especially those who don't have a partner or a family to support. I think it really has enhanced my respect for what we do as women in order to ensure that that relationship with money is still working healthily. It's still able to feed our kids, still able to, even just the little things, still keep us looking presentable. It's all those things, and it's really, I think, humbled my perspective and created a wider empathy for what it means for all kinds of women when we talk about their relationship with money and what they have to do for it every day.
Beyond earning, how do you see women in Zambia approaching savings, investing, and planning for the future?
I think with maybe collective efforts now in the community, like village banking, for instance, which I know was already always there, but it's just nice to see that now it's been things like that are more formalized. So maybe there's more backing, there's more transparency in how the savings are done, how the communities come together. They've got banks that they can bank with and track if there's a dispute, everything's clear. Even just WhatsApp, now we can keep track of, no, but this one said this, I think before I can only imagine what it was like before. But I think with progress like that, and banks genuinely who are making the efforts to make inclusion, different levels of inclusion, but with women in particular, it's great to see that at least we've got those kind of options available now. I think before it used to be quite intimidating for some parts of the community for women to just say, I've gone to the bank, and then you get to the bank, this big, like building looking back down at you, and you don't know whether to go in, you're not sure where to sign, who to talk to. But I'd like to think that that's opened up a bit more. And if there's gaps and still places that can be improved, I'm hoping that stories like this can be a sort of behavioral tool for the ones who are making those structures better for women and their banking and investing. And also, I guess as I was saying, now you've got, with social media, you've got more engagement. That's easier. You're able to tap in an easier way. So for instance, and I'm not advertising for them, but like let's say Lusaka Stock Exchange, now you can have an app, right? Mm-hmm. So you can download the app, you've got it on your phone, right? And you can participate from any level that suits you, which I think, again, before it just felt like a very foreign thing, like a faraway thing that the men did somewhere. But I think those things now, by these efforts, are starting to come closer to us and through these same phones. And I think we have now a choice that I can either spend my time checking out celebrity gossip, or I can go on a hunt and see what are my investment options, and you can do them from the ease of just your phone now. So I think that's a really great advantage for women these days.
In a context where many women are just trying to survive month to month, is investing possible?
Yeah, I think there's stages, right? And I'm not a what's the word? I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm just going to make my disclaimer here. But there's stages in your money path. And of course, if it's day to day, that means now at least you have cash flow. It means there's money coming in that you can buy your bread and then again you do it the next day. Then I think with that stage, if you master it, now you learn how to you say, okay, now there's something else I have to add to this so that I have a bit extra that I can put aside. Or and this every woman's journey or entrepreneur's journey will take, yeah. But so if it's immediate day to day, no, I think, yeah, keep living, right? But you have to now think of what's next and how do we create extra so that we're able to invest. But take it stage by stage. I don't think it's wise to start investing when you will have something else come to a complete halt, or you'll be now, in debt because you try to invest. So I think it comes with time, and it's okay to just be consistent and let things build over time.
In your view, is financial independence changing how women approach dating or marriage?
That's really interesting. Well, I think dating in general is very different from what it was 20 years ago. In this day and age, I'd like to think that it does give some kind of equity in any given situation, so that there's some level of fairness, whether in dating or in marriage, and that women are able to look a bit more objectively into the kind of partner they're choosing or wanting to settle down with. And they have a choice, more choice now, I think, with financial independence than they did before. And I think when it's managed with maturity and still keeping all your values in place, because some people value a marriage and some people value what comes out of that, and some people value their independence, and that's also okay. So for whatever it is that you choose, I think the bottom line is saying, what are my values? And not using financial independence to demean others or to now lord your way over things, but rather to say, how do I ensure that this keeps me living in line with my values? This keeps me and my community happy, and this helps other people. So I'd like to think that it'll give fairer, more equitable, happy relationships where people are coming together because they truly love each other, not necessarily because it's an economic exchange, you know what I mean? Not a transaction or something you have to live with, a death wish, but rather because genuinely it's love and souls coming together to produce more, which is what we're designed and put here. I think that's my values. Other people have different values. But for me, I still believe in marriage and true dating and that it should be a productive combination. And if we can do that fairly and with good intention, with financial independence, and I think we'll all be better for it.
What conversations do you hope this book brings into the open?
I hope it brings conversations, especially for people maybe younger on their journey in how they earn and save and invest and what they're aspiring for. I hope it allows for open conversation for what we will do or not do to get money or keep money, what we will sell or not sell. I hope it opens questions of ethics and reminds us again, takes us back to why we do what we do, why we want money. Why do we want money? Do you want it just because, and are you willing to sell your left? I don't know, whatever it is. I hope it brings us back to the basics and the roots that keep us grounded and keep us flourishing and producing for long periods of time rather than immediate, quick, bust and then collapse sort of directions. I hope it has women saying, wow, I thought I was stuck, but I'm listening to other women as a result of these conversations, and I think I can do it again. I can try, I can get up and do it again. And that there's nothing to be, quote marks, embarrassed about, that there's no kind of hustle that is too, I don't know, some people say beneath you, whatever it is, and some, I think bottom line, let everyone's hustle be their hustle, as long as it's not harming anybody. It's bringing, again, good to the community. I think it should spark conversations of respect across the board in what it means to make our money.
In light of Women's Month, is there any woman or women you would love to give their flowers to, and why?
So first of all, for this one, I'll offer the flowers to the authors of these amazing stories. And there's two men, by the way. So them too, for the purpose of this book. I think they did extremely well, and they were very patient, and they were willing to go through the entire process of peer editing and reviewing and improving their skill, which to me, yeah, they deserve their flowers. But today, and as a result of everything that we've discussed today, I think I'd like to give flowers to every woman, again, who is stuck or maybe has had a setback so big. Sometimes it's so big, you don't even know to begin from, you know what I mean? But the fact that you've done it and the fact that you are still getting up, you are working through that doubt every day, I'll give you your flowers now. And when the time comes, we can give you more flowers. But yeah, I'd like to give flowers to anyone trying, who's really trying, yeah.
Can you share where the book can be purchased?
Our traditional distributors for Copper Monstera will continue with us, of which we have Book World. We have Lusaka Collective at Agora, and we have the 37D Gallery on Middleway currently. Any other channels, we'll be sure to update you.
Can you share any last words for the readers, especially women navigating money and independence?
Yeah, no, just keep going. Let's keep going, guys. Every single purchase, every single markup, every single customer, all of it comes together in the end. So yeah, proud of you, and please get the book, read it, share it with your friends. If you're a corporate and you'd like it for your clients or your distributing partners or the women selling money for you out there, please purchase it and have them having those conversations so that we can really all ensure that we've got happy women with great relationship to their finances. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.